Well, we made it back to Mexico from Cuba.
Did we get our visa reset for another 6 months, or did we just make the biggest mistake? We'll let you know at the end of the video.
Today we're sharing how we went to Cuba and all the things you need to know if you want to go and do it too.
We're sharing all the details.
It might seem like a lot, but if you're well informed, it's easy. We are starving, so we need to go find some food right now.
We're spicing it up for you because somebody last week was so pissed that we were sitting in a room for 75% of the time, so here we go.
They said we did the worst video on YouTube.
As we mentioned in last week's video, as an American, you can't vacation to Cuba, but you can visit if it falls under one of these 12 reasons right here. I'm gonna list them.
The most common reason that Americans use to visit Cuba is to support the Cuban people.
This is how it played out. We first needed to book our flights through Aeromexico because we had to fly out through Mexico City.
From the US, you take a short flight from Miami on United, Delta, or American.
And make sure you book your flights through the actual carrier or you'll get a roadblock. Something pops up telling you you cannot book a flight to Cuba as an American. So it's not true, don't be afraid, go to the carrier, you can book it.
They require you to have health insurance, but with your purchase of the airline ticket, it's included with that purchase. If you want to visit Cuba as an American and do it legally, you need to get a visa. You can do it in advance, but we were able to get ours at the airport the day we flew.
It was $110 for each of us. It'll be a pink slip if you get it from the United States and a green slip if you get it from any other country. The same morning, we also filled out the online customs and immigration form so that it's easier when you make it to the other side. I will have that link right here to make it easier and also down in the description.
As Americans, you have to sign a disclaimer and choose one of the 12 reasons why you are going to visit Cuba. We chose to support the Cuban people.
We ended up doing that right at the airport when we were in line to board. They called us up to the desk and that's where we signed that paper.
And pro tip, do it before you get in line because we were already in line. They called us out of line. We lost our place to go fill out this form and then we had to go get in the very back of the line.
To get on the airplane, yeah.
Go straight to the desk, ask them, tell them you're Americans, fill it out.
Make sure you download Google Translate, WhatsApp, and an eSIM onto your phone before you leave because your phone probably won't work there in Cuba. Ours didn't anyways.
We used GigSky. It cost us about $4 a day for how much we used our phone for navigation and every other thing. We are not sponsored by any of these products that we've mentioned here today.
Yeah, we just want to help anybody out that wants to go to Cuba.
Oh, one thing. If you could mention in the comments where you're writing from or where you're living, that would be awesome because we like to get an idea of where everybody is in the world that's watching these videos. Next,
we had to book our accommodations. And as an American, you cannot stay in the government-run hotels. You have to stay in something that's called a Casa Particular.
A Casa Particular is essentially an Airbnb, but what it does is it supports the Cuban people because you're staying in someone's home. Maybe you're renting a room from them, or
you're
maybe
staying with them.
With them,
yeah.
And they're still there with you, or you're in an apartment that a local owns.
We ended up staying at this one right here. I'll have a link here, and I'll also put a link in the description of where we stayed. It was $50 a night. We thought it was a great deal.
We're right in Old Havana, which is the best place to visit if it's your first time. Everything is within walking distance. There's one thing you should know. If you travel to Cuba, you can't use your credit cards. So you have to make sure you bring enough.
They'll lock you out.
You have to make sure you bring enough cash. So you can either bring American dollars, Canadian dollars, or euros. The rule of thumb is to bring $100 per day per person. However, we only used about $50 per day per person and we were just fine.
Taxis were the most expensive part of our trip. They run $25 to $30, but we mostly walked everywhere. We did everything again on the cheap because that's what we do. We're the Barely Squeaking By channel. We do everything to the bare minimum. What we really wanted to do was support the Cuban people, so we did everything for them that we could within our budget. Another thing you cannot do as an American is eat at the government-run restaurants and you cannot shop at the government-run stores. Legally, you cannot.
We stayed away from all the resorts and beaches.
And only went to the places run by the people. All right, we're taking a little break here. Still have not found anything to eat. We got more to tell you.
The local grocery stores don't have much at all. You'll find some beans, rice, pasta, and maybe a few cans of stewed tomatoes. So go prepared knowing this.
That you have to live on less. You can just eat it by spoonfuls, I guess, maybe.
You're gonna eat peanut butter by the spoonful?
Well, you're gonna have to 17 grams. See, I think we should almost get this. Do you think we could finish this in a couple days?
Sure.
And just find some bread somewhere. Because we have to buy from the store here.
Okay.
This is how we do it here, guys. Like, I mean...
Well, there's honey. You can put honey on it.
We got honey and peanut butter. We gotta find some bread.
Yeah.
On the mission to find bread. But this is what we're working with. Yeah. I'll tell you more about it soon. It was really hard to see. A lot of the stores were behind bars, and you would just point at something and they would come give it to you through the bars. It was really sad.
Well, and it was essentially run out of their home.
And that's the only place as Americans that we were able to shop at.
When visiting as an American, you're essentially living like a Cuban. You don't have the freedoms that people from other countries do. All right, we're trying to piece together some meals here that we don't have to eat out every single time. And so what we've got so far is this bag of rolls for $1 for all these, $1, and some peanut butter and ramen. So we're gonna have ramen and peanut butter rolls. An easy way to determine where you can and can't shop is if they accept credit cards. If they do, you shouldn't be shopping there as an American.
Yep, go where they only accept cash. We're saying all these things and it may sound like, oh, it sounds difficult to go, or maybe it sounds like it's not fun, but it's extremely worth it and we highly recommend doing it. It's life-changing.
It absolutely is. I look at things differently since being there.
The Cubans need help. It's worth going to.
They need anything that they can get, and tourism really helps out their economy in a positive way.
Even when you're souvenir shopping, you just have to go to the little shops. That's where we purchased all of our postcards that we're still hoping they make it in the mail. This is gonna be huge if they make it. Wow, that's so cool. Look at that. This is, they told us to put it in this box right there. There it is. Do we trust it? If you get one of these cards, you are you're dang lucky, because I just don't have any faith in this.
My confidence level is at a 0.5 that you're gonna get these, because everything just seems like it's not very official, but we'll see. Maybe I'll eat my words.
Here they go. Kiss of approval. Going in, did it.
This will be the true test right here. If you guys receive your postcards, then I'm confident every country you'll receive them from.
For sure.
All right, we found this churro shop. It has like 56,000 reviews and it's 4.5 stars. So we're gonna have a little quick snack of churros and we'll pick you back up at the room.
If we didn't mention, we're in Mexico City. We get outside.
Gracias. All right, we're back in the room. Let's give these a try.
Try.
A little hard. I do like the cinnamon though. There's a lot of cinnamon and that tastes good.
Cinnamon's high quality.
But I think they overcooked them.
A little bit.
All right, back to the story. You might be wondering why US citizens can't go to Cuba or why it's so hard. The roadblock essentially is the US government. If you're interested in learning more, we recommend you look up the history on it because we're not the History Channel and we don't want to just regurgitate facts in front of a camera.
Yeah, it would be like hours long of a video if we went through all of this political stuff, and we don't want to be that page, so. And
then I'd probably get one or two things wrong and I'd hear about it in the comments section, so we're gonna avoid all that.
Yes.
And go while you can, because you never know when it might change. It could change with the change, you know.
And go while you can.
And go while you can. You never know when it could change.
Now you can't just visit Cuba by laying out on the beach, sipping cocktails. You actually have to immerse yourself into the culture and spend all of your time and your money with the Cuban people. If you plan a visit, make sure you make an itinerary and save it. There are so many things that you can choose from to fill your days.
Some of the things you can do, as you saw in the previous video, to support the local Cuban people: stay in a Casa Particular, eat at local restaurants, and buy your souvenirs from the local stores.
To make things even easier, you can book through travel companies, and we did that for 2 of the activities we did, which was the photo tour and one of the salsa dance lessons that we had. I will list those companies right here and also down in the description. Again, no one's sponsoring us. We are barely squeaking by.
And yes, we did do another salsa lesson.
We're at our 2nd salsa class. This needs more practice.
I'm really into it.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the only salsa I like came with chips, but I'm trying a new salsa.
Would you guys try it? Would you try this?
Or am I just stupid?
You're awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Oye, siempre ha sido el gran amor, Chacha. Sin fuego, adiós, me voy para La Habana. Sin fuego, adiós, porque me da la gana. Es la verdad, oye. Sin fuego, adiós, me voy para La Habana.
And we each got our own teacher for this lesson, which was great for me, the beginner, and her with more experience. It was 100 times better than the first lesson, and it was even cheaper. It was $36 for both of us.
The Cuban people have been nothing short of wonderful. They have been kind, welcoming, and some of the happiest people that we have met who have materialistically nothing.
One of the singers that we listen to each morning while we eat breakfast came over and gifted me a Cuban cigar.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias, wow.
You did shopping? Muy caro.
Wow.
This is my family, La Factoría.
Oh yeah?
Y my father, La Factoría.
Wow. Thank you.
Oh. Hey. Let me smell it.
How's that gonna look when I tried smoking that thing and I gave it my best.
I don't know if he was doing it right. Like, look, yeah.
I smoked it right. I wasn't coughing. I didn't do anything. I didn't inhale. But I don't know. Smoking tobacco is just not for me.
What, has anyone else tried smoking a cigar? Was he doing it right?
I didn't turn green and I didn't throw up.
I would have tried it, but to me it didn't even smell good.
Oh, she was not happy.
No.
It made the whole room smell.
No, it was so gross. We didn't even have a lighter for it. It was nasty. We had to use the stove. I was thinking it was gonna smell like a pipe. Like my father would smoke pipes when I was growing up on special occasions. And I was like, oh man, it's gonna smell like a sweet tobacco. It doesn't. It was nasty. It was so flat smelling. It was literally like a cigarette. And I'm not a cigarette fan.
It's like smoking a giant cigarette that you don't inhale.
Green, everybody.
I don't know. Check that one off the bucket list.
We had to. It was Cuba,
Smoked a Cuban cigar. But I'm in no hurry to do it again.
What I want to say is, if we could do the trip over again, something we would have done differently is we would have packed an entire suitcase full of a bunch of little things for the Cuban people that we could have handed out, and we would have checked our bag.
Next time, we'll do it.
Yes.
When we go to Cuba, bring a duffel bag full of goodies, book salsa lessons every day.
Yeah, we would have done that too. The reason we were inspired to bring the toothbrushes, we have a friend in Mexico and she was telling us about them. She had a story for us.
Her story was she had been traveling. She was in Cuba for 2 months. She was getting ready to leave, and she left her used toothbrush with her friend because her friend's toothbrush looked like a mustache. The bristles were all curled over. However, you know, the bristles were all jacked up.
Like a mop.
And her friend was so happy to get the toothbrush that she'd been using for 2 months. That inspired us to buy as many toothbrushes as we could fit in our check-in bags. So that's what we did. It wasn't nearly enough. I wish that we had 100 times more toothbrushes.
You know, people will swarm you as soon as you start giving out anything. Like, the adults are coming after you for whatever they can get.
They can see you from a block and a half down that you just gave someone to a local, and they'll stop and hit you up for it. So it was sad. I wish that I could have done more.
Yeah, so if we can inspire even a single person to book a trip to Cuba, that would mean a lot to us.
It would make this all worth it.
It's the Cuban sandwich we're eating on the deck where we're staying. It's about to storm. It's still beautiful. We got some plantain chips to go with it. Wow. Jumped over a hole. Look at that. Wow. That's so cool. Lastly, to wrap this up, this could be one of the most important things we tell you. Save all of your receipts if you do this trip, because none of anything that we've told you matters until we try to re-enter the United States. We're good so far, but
we won't know for 2 years. Or however long it takes us on this trip.
It's recommended you save your receipts for 5 years. That's why sometimes booking with the tour companies are the better way to go, because you will get a receipt doing that and you can have a little trail of everything that you did.
We saved all of ours. Hopefully there's not a problem in the future.
Yeah, so you might want to stick around for the next 2 years as we go to Argentina or whenever we have to go back to the United States, because we don't know yet if we're going to be able to get back in. If you're new to the channel, we are driving the Pan American Highway in a cheap old van. Our van is currently sitting in Teotihuacan. We do not know if it's still there. We're going to find out in a couple days.
We started in Alaska over a year ago. We've been in Mexico for 6 months now, and we had to reset our visa.
That's why we left to Cuba, and now we are still on our way to make it to the tip of Argentina. That's the goal. If anybody has any questions about this video, please leave a comment. It might have been confusing, it might have been all over the place. We're trying here, we're a little bit jet lagged still. So, and we're at higher elevation. We're now at 7,500. Got a lot going on, but we're rocking out the videos. We're gonna keep them coming. Thanks for being here. All right, it's midnight, and we just realized that we didn't tell you guys about our visa. So, we're in bed.
Yeah, they renewed it. 6 months we got. 6 more months in Mexico.
Doesn't mean we're gonna use it all, but it's cool that they did reset it. It was really easy. She just stamped it and was like, here you go, 6 months.
It was actually the easiest immigration that I've ever done this far. We walked up, there was no line. She asked us how much time we wanted. We told her 6 months. She's like, okay. And we just stood there like, is that it? She's like, yeah, that's it, you're done. Are you sure? Yeah, you're good. Okay, thanks, bye.
Yes, but this is only Mexico, like we said. We haven't tried to go to the US yet, and that's where it really matters. That's where they care about you visiting Cuba, so we'll see. Good night.
Good night.
you're new to the channel, like I want you to suffer through with me. This time you're gonna edit this with me to see how hard it is. It's not easy. It's not your chair is squeaking. You have what you're gonna say next because it has to flow. Why are you laughing?
He said you cut the tip off and then you dip it in coffee to like moisten it and then don't inhale.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you just bring the smoke into your mouth and blow it out.
They're just trying to get that. See that bump? They're trying to lift it up over that bump there. I don't even know what to say. If you're new here, we are driving the Pan American Highway in a cheap old van that is sitting in Teotihuacan right now. We don't know if it's still there, but we're gonna, in a couple days, we'll find out. It didn't sound good.
About a year and a half to smoke this thing.
Yeah. Wow. Why is this like this?
I don't know.
Okay.
We lost our flow.
Yeah.
But don't inhale because I know everyone inhales these things and it'll kill you.
It's so fun to have a balcony room. That thing's awesome. That is so freaking cool.
It's funny that they paid for a ride and he's like, here, push this thing while I look.
Yeah. Hang out on the beach, sipping cocktails. Did you want to touch your face? Like, oh man. Okay. What? You have to immerse yourself into the... Oh my God, we're gonna quit YouTube. I'm about to quit YouTube, if anybody wants to know. Okay. As we mentioned in last week's video, as an American, why are you going so fast?
Have any of y'all...
We already asked that.
Oh.
I just asked
Oh,
that.
you did.
What the frick today?
Babe, I am. Come on, I'm being a gimbal too.
Okay. If you plan a visit, make sure you make it an... Oh my God, it's so hard to film. Okay.
You got this, you got this.
All right,
Okay.
here we go.
Okay. Look at it, it's like rolled so perfectly, it's so smooth. His father either works in the factory or owns it, but that's awesome.
I can't believe you just gave us that.
I can't either.
Holy cow.
No Coca-Cola in Cuba, only Santa Cola.
Because you're not allowed to have it.
You're not allowed to have it because, for whatever reason, I don't know.
Some political stuff.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Mm.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
That's what the guy was doing at the table, right? Do I look like him? Do I look as cool as him?
Cuba!
Cuba!
Hermanos.
Hermanos!